Welcome to Race Weekend Update, where we update you on all this race weekend's news and results. I'm your host, Mike Lofquist, and let's get right into the news. The Cup weekend kicked off at Vegas with the new qualifying format on Friday. This week's format included 3 sessions instead of 2, but the results were essentially the same. The Penske cars of Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski swapped track records late in the 3rd round, but this week Joey ended up on top. The new format is still a little sketchy, and Brian Vickers even called it the most dangerous thing he's ever done in a race car after narrowly being avoided during his cooldown laps. By all accounts, NASCAR is sticking to their guns though and won't be changing the format to allow the teams to cool down their engines in any other way. Next week should be especially interesting because the Cup cars are of course at Bristol and there's really no room for anybody to get out of the way during their cooldown laps. Joey Logano might have been on the pole, but his teammate Brad Keselowski wound up in victory lane during Sunday's Cobalt Tools 400 at Las Vegas. Steve Letarte, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief, put him in great position late in the race during the last round of pit stops, but they just didn't have enough fuel to complete the victory. Jr. and Keselowski swapped positions a few times during the last 15 laps, and Jr. even pulled away a few car lengths on the last lap, but it just wasn't enough. Jr.'s car burped coming out of 2 and essentially handed the victory to Brad Keselowski. The race went essentially incident-free, but everybody was holding their breath for the last 15 laps. In this week's Danica Patrick update, she actually wound up 21st and was the highest finishing Stewart-Haas driver. She had a small incident with Eric Almirola early on in the race, but actually made quite a save, and it didn't even result in a caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually managed to coast to the line and finish 2nd. Paul Menard was 3rd, surprisingly. Joey Logano was 4th, and Carl Edwards rounded out the top 5. The Sprint Cup Series is back on track next Sunday at Bristol, and of course, qualifying is Friday evening. Tony Stewart had a terrible weekend, finishing 33rd 4 laps down, but this week he and his sponsor Mobil 1 released a YouTube series called Smoke is the Bandit, and it's hilarious. Head on over to the Mobil 1's YouTube channel to check it out, or check the description for a link. There was a little controversy at this Saturday's Boyd Gaming 300 Nationwide Series race at Las Vegas. Kyle Busch was forced to the back of the field after his crew chief decided to change a frayed alternator belt after impound. Kyle put on an insane show, driving from the back of the field to the top 10 within 60 laps. Kyle's amazing drive wasn't enough though, and was actually outdueled to the victory by Brad Keselowski. Keselowski swept the weekend and won the Nationwide Series race with a failing battery that made him slow way down towards the end. He had built up a big enough lead though, and Kyle Busch just ran out of time. Kyle Larson ran 3rd, followed by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 4th, and Chase Elliott, the rookie, rounded up the top 5. The Nationwide Series is back on track Saturday at Bristol along with the Cup guys. Monster Energy AMA Supercross was at Daytona this weekend, possibly the coolest venue on the schedule. Ryan Villopoto recovered from a vicious practice crash and wound up winning the main event. He put on a dominating performance and even laid his bike down at one point and still managed to beat 2nd place finisher Ken Roczen to the line by 12+ seconds. James Stewart's terrible season continues to go on. His header pipe fell off at the start and he was forced to go to the pits. Justin Barcia and Malcolm Stewart got together and even had a heated shoving match on track during the event. Bam Bam made an aggressive move and essentially took Malcolm out of a top 5 finish. Villopoto was not to be denied and led all 20 laps without even a real challenge. Villopoto has now won 4 of the last 5 events at Daytona. Ken Roczen finished 2nd, followed by Ryan Dungey in 3rd, Brock Tickle in 4th, and Andrew Short in 5th. Next week, AMA Supercross heads to Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. That's all the race-related news that mattered to me this week. Follow the show on Twitter at RaceWeekUpdate. If you like what you see, subscribe, and if you have any questions or suggestions, leave us a comment. I'm Mike Lofquist saying, we'll see you at the track.